Hello guys and welcome to today's tutorial. So for today we'll be creating a wooden floor material right here in Sketchup using V-ray 6. And I'll be using textures I got from Polygon texture website. So let's begin. Go to our asset editor and then we create a generic material. Let's call this generic material wooden floor. And then apply it to our surface. So I'll open up the surface, apply, selection. So our wooden floor has been applied to the surface. So for the diffuse map, I'm going to combine two textures together, ambient occlusion and the color map. In case you don't have ambient occlusion, you can go ahead and use only your color map. But since I want to combine the two of them, I'm going to right click this, go to mix operator, combine the two maps here, texture A and texture B. For texture A, we put the ambient occlusion map AO, ambient occlusion AO. So for the transfer function for this, please take note, you change it to none. Okay, none. And then for texture B, you put your color map. Color map. I have two variations here, so I want to use this variation number 2, color map. So for transfer function for the color map is sRGB. So right now we can see our ambient occlusion map here on the preview, but that's not what we want to see. Okay, we actually want to see our color map. So the way you do it is this: go to operator, you change the operator to multiply. So once you do that, the map will be applied on our surface. It's going to show here on our surface. So as you can see, there's a lot of repetition. There are so many repetition here. So how do we take care of this problem? We'll go to our material, wooden floor, go to edit, let's use 1/8. So let's test render and see what we have. So I'm going to stop this right now. So we save the image. Let's call this image our ambient occlusion plus diffuse map. That's ambient occlusion AO plus diffuse map, that's DM. Or let me go with color map, so we'll not confuse ourselves. Color map. So the next map we'll apply is our reflection map. So you go over here, reflection map, its map, reflection map. You're going to see it RAFL. So for the transfer function for reflection map is none. Let me change this to floor preview so I will be seeing our material in the proper way. Let's test render now that we have our map with the reflection map. I'll stop this right now. Save this. We'll call this AO plus color plus reflection. You can see now there's a problem now. Our reflection is uniform across the whole surface and it's sharp. Doesn't have to be this way. Okay. So the way we'll correct this is to apply a glossiness map. on the floor. So we'll go to our reflection glossiness bitmap. You're going to see gloss, GLOSS. So the transfer function for the glossiness map is also none. Let's test render again. So I'll stop this right here. And then we'll call this, we'll save it, rename it AL plus COL plus RF plus glossiness map. So let's compare them, A and B. This is our floor with a glossiness map and a reflection map. While this is the floor with just the reflection map. As you can see, the glossiness has taken care of this problem that the reflection map brought to our floor. So we're progressing, our floor is coming to life. Now we have two more maps to apply. The first one is our normal map, and then the second is the displacement map. So let's go to our bump map, change this to normal map, go to bitmap. Normal map. The transfer function for the normal map is also none. So we'll go back and then let's render again and see. So I'll stop this. We'll save the image, rename it as normal map. So let's compare once more and see. Now the A, that's the image on A, that's this image here, has our normal map. Why this does not have the normal map? So let's zoom in and see the difference. This is A with the normal map, and this is B without the normal map. As you can see, the difference is there. You see our grain here, more pronounced on A with the normal map. We can still go ahead to increase the normal map just to make it more real. Let's test render again and see. Let me stop this and let's compare. So I'm not going to save this new image, I'm just going to compare it with the previous that we did. Okay, let's go to this A. There's no need to compare any A and B. We're comparing A with the image on our frame buffer right now. So this is A when our normal map was at 1, the size was at 1, and then this is the map as size 2. So I think 2 is better. Let's copy this text, delete this, and then save the current image. Now, the final map we'll be applying is the displacement map. But before applying it, we have to create the displacement geometry. How do we do that? You go to your asset editor, come over here, let's click, go to displacement and create the geometry. So let's call this geometry is of floor. So the next thing we'll do is to apply this to our floor selection. Now, please take note, for this to work, the surface that you're applying it to must be a group. Okay, I've clicked this right now. When I go to entity info, you're going to see that it's a solid group. Okay, it's a solid group. Look at it here. If it's not a group, this next step will not work. So we'll go back to our editor, right click on this and then apply to selection. Once you do that, you will see a red line. This red line that you see here is telling you that yes, the geometry, displacement geometry has been applied to your surface. Having done that, the next thing we'll do is to apply our bitmap to it. Here we have two displacement bitmap. We have the JPEG and the TIFF. For the sake of this tutorial, we'll go with the JPEG format. Now, the transfer function for this displacement map is also none. So we go back, and then the amount is here is 1. By default, the amount here is 1, depending on what you want to do. Sometimes it might be too big, sometimes it might be too small. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let's test render and see. You can see a problem already. The displacement value for 1 is too large, as you can see for this image, right? Our bookshelf has been buried in the floor because the displacement pushed this wooden floor upwards by a value of 1 inch. So that's why our bookshelf here has been buried in the floor. How do we solve the problem? Let's save it so we can compare with the new one we'll get when we solve the problem. Now let's change this value to say 0.2. I remember my Sketchup interface right here, my unit of measurement is in millimeter, while the unit of this amount here is in inches. So how do we solve it now? We have to lift bookshelf by upwards by an amount of 0.2 inch, so that when the displacement map deforms this law geometry by pushing it upwards, is going to be at a value whereby the bookcase will be on the surface. Okay, so now we have our displacement at a value of 0.2. So how do I solve it? Let me go to my calculator. Now I'm going to check the value of 2 inch in millimeter. You can see it's 5.08. So I'm going to move this model by 5.08 millimeter upwards, so that when the displacement displays this geometry by a value of 0.2 inch upwards, my bookshelf is going to rest on it without being buried in the floor. So let's render and see what it's going to look like. You can see the difference, right? So let's compare again and see. Let's say we can compare A and B. For this, our value was 1. That's the displacement value was 1. While here it's 0.2. Let's see. So this is basically the way you create a wooden floor material using PBR textures gotten from the Polygon websites. So before we go, let's take a look on how to go about doing our final render. So I'm going to increase the value of this just to increase the resolution. Let's go 4K. And then let's render. So this is our image after the final render. Thank you for watching. See you next time.